the reigning champ gets his first win of 2021, a little rain, and a whole lot of Austin, Texas. First NASCAR weekend at Circuit of the Americas is in the books. And here we are. Hey, race fans, I am Alex Weaver. Welcome to Backseat Drivers. Joining me here in studio, the man of the hour, Kyle Petty. We also have Jonathan Merryman joining us virtually. So let's get right into it. A lot to talk about. A very big weekend for NASCAR coming out of COTA. First up, left or right, opposite directions may require opposite opinions. So obviously we have to start with this one for you, KP. Hendrick Motorsports has now tied Richard Petty Enterprises as the most wins in NASCAR history. One, this is a huge milestone, and all that Richard Petty Enterprises and your family's done for this sport, but now we have another organization that's close to breaking that record. And two, Hendrick Motorsports is doing something pretty cool. Chase is winning number 9 car from COTA. We'll have Chase, the number 9 team, Rick Hendrick, and your dad, Richard Petty, all sign it. It will be auctioned off with proceeds going to Victory Junction. An awesome way to honor both organizations and a special place.
Yeah, that is a cool part. Obviously Rick has been on our board. Rick is a big part of what Victory Junction was. My dad donated the land. My oldest son, Adam, is why the camp was there. So that's really cool because that's going to be special for a lot of kids, no matter what the wins and everything. But I look at tying this record and breaking this record because they're going to break it. Just a matter of time. I said the other day, we were talking, and somebody said, what do you think about it? And I said, okay, here's the deal. When Petty Enterprises and my dad broke that or set that record, you still got a Sears catalog, Christmas catalog that came to your house, and Sears Roebuck was the largest retailer in the world. Yeah. As Rick breaks that record, it's Amazon. That's the difference from Sears to Amazon. You look at it. The difference being, though, the similarities being, and I said this, is that Hendrick Motorsports has Rick Hendrick, his fingerprints all over it. Mm-hmm. He makes the call. He's the decision maker. He's the leader. He's the guy that guides that. He's the guy that hired Jeff Gordon, that hired Jimmy Johnson, that hired Chase Elliott, that hired Tim Richmond, that hired Jeff Bodine, if we go back in time. I think it's the Hendrick way. And at Petty Enterprises, it was the Petty way. That's the way they did it. So, it's phenomenal to me that we've been around this long in this sport. And it's taken this long for somebody to come along, but it's well-deserved. Rick and those guys mean a lot to this sport and have done a lot for this sport. Yeah,
a huge achievement. Merryman, 2 organizations that are pretty special to this sport. What do you think of it?
I mean, look, if there's a Mount Rushmore of motorsports, Richard Petty and Rick Hendrick's face should be on it with all they've accomplished, both in the driver's seat and owning a car. So congrats to Rick Hendrick, Richard Petty. He's a legend. We all know that. So, it's cool to see kind of history being made and history honored in the sport today.
Yeah, it'll be an awesome day whenever that record is broken. It will probably come this season in the way that Hendrick Motorsports has been dominating. But we've already had quite a few special days in this sport. So let's get into those inaugural races that we've had so far this season, because there's 2 that I'm thinking of this season with Bristol Dirt and now COTA. So Merryman, let's start with you on this one. Joey Logano gets the first ever race on Bristol Dirt. Chase Elliott, the first ever race at Circuit of the Americas in the rain. Both some nature elements. So which win was most impressive?
I really liked the Bristol Dirt thing. You had a lot of guys up there contending who usually don't, and some guys that we thought would be good kind of get caught up in stuff early. I thought the dynamic at the Bristol Dirt race was more appealing to me. Not to take anything away from Circuit of the Americas, but I think the fans leaving with a little dirt on their T-shirt, that would rank up there with me than Circuit of the Americas.
Yeah, not a wet T-shirt, but yeah. KP, what do you think?
Yeah, so we can go from the dirty T-shirt from Bristol to the wet T-shirt. My thing is this. Basically, Jonathan just described what COTA was, what the race in the rain was. We saw guys up front, Ryan Preece, Briscoe. We saw so many guys, Austin Cindric. We saw him lead the race. We saw Tyler Reddick up leading challenger. So on the pole, so many people that you don't usually see. So as dirt was the great equalizer at Bristol, rain was the great equalizer at COTA. So it allowed some smaller teams to, and as they said, these are going to be driver racetracks. When it gets wet, when it gets dirty at dirt, and you got to drive dirt, it puts it back in the hands of the drivers. So I think it was impressive to see these guys. But the rain thing yesterday was pretty amazing. on a lot of different levels. I thought there was some huge pluses and some huge minuses, but I thought it was a special day.
All right, well, we're all hungry for some more racing and time for a little rapid fire in the drive-thru. Short and sweet answers. First up, now sitting at 6 road course wins, Chase Elliott has become the new road course ace. Another Hendrick driver still owns the title of the road course king, however, and I'm talking about Jeff Gordon. So before his career is over, does Chase Elliott pass Jeff's record? Chase needs 3 more wins to tie, 4 more to break it. KP.
Oh yeah, yes. He may annihilate. He's going to annihilate that record. Okay, if we keep the schedule that we keep, and I think that's got a lot to do with it. I think Chase is a phenomenal road racer. Where that comes from, I have no idea. I mean, I've heard Bill say the same thing. I don't know where that comes from, you know. But Bill was a good road racer. We only run Riverside and a couple of places like that. But you know, there's 6 or 7 road courses this year, where Jeff Gordon only had a couple of times a year. So basically, in this 1 year in 2001, it's like 3 years of Jeff Gordon racing to get those numbers. So you know, he'll not only break that record. At some point in time, that record will go in the double figures. This is going to be a double figure record in the near future, I believe. Yeah,
he's pretty young, too, so a lot of career left. Merryman, you thought he was going to win every single road course, so he should have broken it, 3 years ago, right?
Well, look, I think, you know, this year Chase has a good shot at doing it. I think once we move into next year and Austin Cindric finds himself in a Cup car full-time, Chase might have a little bit more competition other than just Martin Truex Jr. out there. So, yes, I do think it'll be broken, but how fast or will Austin Cindric catch him and surpass both of their records? That could be a thing, because that guy, as he showed yesterday, he can wheel a race car in just about anything. So, yes, Chase will break it, but, man, Austin Cindric going to be hot on his heels next year.
Yeah, a little bit of a battle between the Austin Cindric in the 33 and Chase in the 9 yesterday. I think Chase was getting a little frustrated, so 2022 might be a little fun. Not only did they get a win, but Hendrick Motorsports has swept the first 2 positions in consecutive races for the first time since 2009. Once again, Kyle Larson gets the runner-up finish, his 4th of the year and 3rd consecutive. He can't be a bridesmaid forever, right, Merryman? Another win has to come soon, right?
Never say never. I mean, look, it's going to end at some point. I think, you know, you look down the road, you got tracks like Darlington and Atlanta still coming up on the schedule. We know he's good there. So he'll get another win this year. But, I mean, you know, we saw it with Casey Kane earlier in his career. We've seen it with Kyle Larson before. You're so close and you just can't get the deal closed. I think the difference now is Kyle Larson's in the best equipment he's ever been in the NASCAR Cup Series. So, yes, he will get another win, but I think it might come down the line here a little bit once we get back to Darlington or Atlanta.
All right, KP?
Yeah, he can win anywhere. It can come at Charlotte. It can come the week after Charlotte. It can come 6 weeks. And clearly it can come because he's running second. He's getting looks at wins. He sees the guy that's winning the race. When you can get looks at wins and you see the guy that's winning the race, you're going to win. It's going to come. And I think he's proven, especially over the last couple of weeks, if we look at the tracks that he's run second on, he can win at any of those racetracks. So I think he's one of those guys, and Jonathan mentioned it with Casey Kane. But I think he's better than Casey Kane. I think he's more focused than Casey Kane. I think he has matured a lot. I think being sent back home for a while has changed his perspective on this sport, and he's a better Cup driver now than he was when he was here before. So I think with the next win comes a flurry of wins. It's not only going to be 1, it's going to be 2, it's going to be 4, it's going to be 6. He's going to have a big season once he breaks through.
Yeah, well, I know that the 5 and Kyle Larson are hoping that comes to the playoffs at the right time and they can just skirt on by to Phoenix. Well, we did see some different names running up front in yesterday's race at COTA. Which top 10 was the most impressive? Ross Chastain, A.J. Allmendinger, Chase Briscoe, or Michael McDowell? KP, we hear some normal road course names in that bunch.
Yeah, but I'm going to say Chastain.
Okay.
Chastain, I don't think Chastain knew it was raining yesterday. If you watch the race, I mean, some of the stuff he did was like, oh my God, where's that 42 going? And it was fascinating. And listen, he didn't drive to make friends. Listen, we saw him take his teammate, Kurt Busch. We saw him take Kurt White a couple of times. So But for some reason, his feel, his aggressiveness, what he felt in that car yesterday, the rain didn't affect the way he drove the race car, and he was coming. There were a couple of times that he was the fastest car on the racetrack by a lot. So I think that was impressive to me because we haven't seen that from Ross Chastain this year. Yeah. We've seen him get himself in trouble. We've seen him make bonehead moves. We've seen him do things to pee other people off, to be honest with you. And yesterday he might have done a few of those things, but the rain covered it, so I thought that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, Ross Chastain is the first to tell you no friends on the racetrack. Merryman, who you got out of those four?
I think Chastain probably is the answer, but the best driving I saw all day was Austin Cindric at the start of that race, in the rain, on slicks, driving away from the field. That guy put on a show, didn't get the finish that I think he deserved. But if I can add Austin Cindric's name to that list, I'm going to say Cindric. But if I have to pick from that list, Chastain's the guy.
Not only is there another chance to score some fantasy points coming up this weekend, but Fox Sports Films will also be presenting a dynamic look at the history of the toughest drivers in NASCAR and the outlaw spirit ingrained in the DNA of the sport that we all know and love. This film tells the story of the greatest trailblazers, renegades, and rebels in NASCAR, past and present. Kyle, you and I had the opportunity to be a part of this documentary. When I'm saying all this, who comes to mind as the trailblazer that's kind of the renegade of this sport?
See, I go back a little bit farther than.
Back as far
yeah,
as
I go way back. So I go back to, and I laugh sometimes because my dad said that when they ran the first race at Charlotte, that 90% of the people that were either drivers, car owners, or mechanics were in the liquor business. Yeah. Okay, so that those are pretty big renegades right there. But if you go back to Curtis Turner, if you go back to Red Byron and guys like that, those guys were so. I mean, Red Byron strapped himself. I mean, he had a leg where he had an injury from the war. He bolted himself to the car so he could drive a car. Who bolts themselves to a car? That's tough.
Look, I was on the tail end of the Earnhardt era, and he has his place there. But, man, Tony Stewart, growing up, was one of the wildest dudes to watch on and off a racetrack. Didn't know what was going to come out of his mouth. If you're at Bristol, you didn't know what hand the helmet was going to come out of, throwing it at Kenseth. I have to go Tony Stewart all day long. That guy was an absolute hoot to watch.
I, in the documentary as well, talked about Dale Earnhardt Sr. I don't know how you pick a guy that was tougher than Senior. The Intimidator is about as tough as it gets for me. But Renegades will be airing on May 29th, immediately following the Xfinity race at Charlotte. Make sure and tune into that. Well, here we are, Memorial Day weekend, Coca-Cola 600, the longest race on our calendar. It's 600 miles at Charlotte Motor Speedway. As a driver, KP, the test of endurance is never lost when it comes to this race.
No, it's a long race, and that it was designed as a test of man and machine. And these cars will go forever now. So that part of it has kind of gone by the wayside. But we saw guys at COTA, in the Xfinity race. Worn out after that. So you come to Charlotte and have to run 600 miles. It's like, man, it's going to be tough. And it's tough coming off of COTA. So you look at that, and I think Jimmy Johnson changed the game on how guys work out, how guys focus, how you focus on you as a driver and the physical demands, but it's still going to be tough. We're going to see guys that get out that if it's warm like it's supposed to be in Charlotte all week long, it's going to be a tough week at Charlotte.
Yeah, the heat always plays a factor. Merryman, you'll be in the Boston Marathon next year, right?
No, maybe a Boston Market, but not a Boston Marathon.
Okay, the endurance of the 600, obviously a big play when it comes to the drivers getting it done on Sunday.
Yeah, look, it's, Kyle said it best, Jimmy did change the game, but look, this is pit crews because, we start the day, the race, in the heat, move it, they have more pit stops during this race than before, so you have to be on the whole time. The drivers have to be behind the wheel the whole time. I don't know if anybody's ever taken a lap around Charlotte. I've done a ride along, and they don't go as fast as the Cup cars, but man, the G-forces at any racetrack are a lot, and 600 miles of that is a lot. So, yeah, look, and if you're going to put me on the spot, make me pick a winner, I'm going Martin Truex Jr. These endurance races, these long, tough races are really his bread and butter. So I think Truex is going to get it done.
A Monday with Kyle Petty is definitely a Monday well spent. A home race for many teams in the NASCAR garage this weekend. And us Charlotteans know that this race is the official start of summer. Let's kick it off. Make sure and tune in this Sunday at 6 p.m. on Fox, and we'll see you right back here in the backseat.